Yes, Nurse Crane? How can I help you?
I'm so sorry. I know Dr. Swansea wanted you to rest, but we have somewhat of a crisis.
A crisis, you say?
Our supply of antiseptics is nearly depleted. I was hoping there was another box up here, but...
What type of hospital are you running? No antiseptics?
You have been away too long, Doctor. With the war and now this epidemic, supplies have been running scarce for months now.
I may have a solution. In France, during the war, drugs shortage was a daily problem, and we had to use our wits to overcome the shortages.
However do you mean?
If combined correctly, certain household chemical products can be used in a pinch instead. Now, where's the hospital storeroom?
The storeroom? Fat chance. This is the Pembroke, and space is luxury we don't have. Everything used to be stored in the old morgue.
Perhaps I should look there first. Where is this morgue?
It's the large building behind the hospital. You'll need to go in the back door because it's been sealed off for sanitary reasons. Take this key. It opens a small back entrance at the end of a narrow street.
The abandoned morgue behind the hospital. A small door at the end of a narrow street. On my way then. Thank you, nurse. It's locked, all right.
Peaceful and...
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague. Are you a doctor, too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. But I'm sure they can be useful.
It's locked, all right.
It never ceases to amaze me how you, the dead.
It's locked. Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody... I cannot enter. Behavior is similar to the infected William Bishop. Must be the same strain. This sickness moves faster than influenza. Balls of Mars, fortifiers. As popular as they are ineffective. But they do contain iron tartrate, and that might prove itself useful. It's locked. This key will surely grant me access to the basement. I cannot enter. These scowls feed from corpses and the husks of animals. They're not after blood. It's locked, all right. Mr. Connor's injuries don't match the report. I'd better look into this. The chest was originally opened to perform the operation. The sutures are clean, but the chest has been reopened. Traces of a pinkish foam at the corner of the... Multiple abrasions and scarring on the arms and legs. Old and distinctive injuries of a sailor or a fisherman. A puncture over the left lung, possibly a chest tube insertion. Signs of internal bleeding. So, Dr. Tippett's anesthetics were incorrectly dosed, causing the patient's death. And then, he tried to operate on him again. Tippett has made an egregious error. It's time we talked. Scowls can be so ferocious. I'm not sure I can defeat them without becoming stronger. To drink blood is so tempting. Sodium hypochlorite. Dangerous to administer, but efficient in the proper dosage. Our voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed, yes, I've been informed about your arrival.
Does my arrival inconvenience?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you.
If you have a problem with...
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this
I know we've never met before, but
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed.
aren't you too old for such jealousy?
Don't be ridiculous, Dr. Reed. As if...
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you...
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteers.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't...
And what exactly is that?
I served in the war just like you. But
Be careful what you
I only want you to admit you used the...
This is ridiculous. My blood
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you.
It seems you have bad memories of your...
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter.
We can at least agree on something, Doctor. Thank you for your... Good evening, sir.
I don't know if a third opinion isn't.
I see.
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want...
Tell me about yourself.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his
I
own.
was more curious about what you were doing.
I'm a carpenter. And a good...
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing.
Strickland and Aykroyd. They both want the best for me, but...
What do you mean?
Uh,
Are you satisfied with your...
well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad...
I won't lie to you about...
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed?
In other circumstances, you... Goodbye for now, Mr.
Nice sweet girl. Reads me like a book. I never could keep anything from her.
Finally, you've returned, Doctor.
Yes, Nat.
You've worked your first miracle.
Duty calls. When the storm has passed, I'll show you how to make...
Many thanks, Doctor. When you finish...
I will not let you down, my boy.
Dr. Reed, may I help?
What can you tell me about the epidemic?
Everyday folk don't know.
News on the front stated that the
It seemed to be for a...
What can you tell me about our...
This hospital was founded...
Can you be more specific?
Well, veterans, the elderly...
For how long?
I first volunteered at the Pembroke in 19...
And before you were...
If you must know, this was my...
Well, Dr. Swansea certainly has confidence.
Not in an official capacity.
How is the duty...
Everybody works until they can't.
What about medical...
Dr. Reed, we don't have the money.
I'll see you later.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to benefit that.
Good evening, Doctor. I believe we're going to...
Dr. Reed. I am Thoreau Strickland.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical...
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring
With the influenza and all that's going on.
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is
Please, could you...
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed.
What made you choose...
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work.
It's always a pleasure to...
This epidemic may be the century's
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me...
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach.
As long as you're cautious and methodical.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced...
What can you tell me?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr. Swansea.
Do you need help?
Well, yes, maybe.
Do you want me to play the errand?
Oh, no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his
I see. Well, You seem quite optimistic.
I'm convinced that this epidemic...
Questions remain about...
True. Last summer, during the first...
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with...
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that...
What is it you really want?
Fair question.
Tell me, Mr. Fiddick's...
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr...
But why would he hide such This personal involvement could also...
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Ackroyd's behavior. A man who...
Do you think keeping his distance...
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings.
Goodbye, Doc. It's locked.
Please, Jonathan, come in. Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events.
It may seem strange, but you're...
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time.
There is no need to apologize, Ed.
Very well.
Please, go.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors.
A spokesman or politician is what you need.
That discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received...
And you would like me to eradicate?
By the stole, of course not. I would just...
Accepted. I'll see what...
Do you need something?
I have just a...
Then ask her...
You mentioned something about a secret.
Certainly. I've been a member of the Brotherhood.
That explains your nightly wanderings about the...
I feel it wasn't mere coincidence that led us to that part of town.
Yet you don't fear me. And still...
The Brotherhood has studied your kind for centuries. We believe you are as supernatural as a lion is to...
Since you seem quite the expert on...
As men of science, our first step is always to start with what we know.
The sun. The morning following my...
You will find there is very little that can kill a vampire, my friend. You have...
Must I take a life to live.
You are a vampire. You feed, and blood is the sole sustenance that can...
Since I'm the one working for you,
Well, for many years, we have been the only medical facility in the...
where do we stand today?
To be honest, we cope on a day-to-day basis. The first...
What do you expect?
What we need is hope. You were a soldier. This is...
The man we pursued and slew in the canning factory.
He was a Skal, technically speaking. The debate raged.
Where do...
The name means slave. The etymology may indicate that they are a lesser species of vampire.
Just for clarity, what differences are...
A Skal is easier to eliminate, Jonathan, even if they remain formidable foes for the unprepared. Vampire...
We'll see each other again. The flower's dying. It needs water.
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough. Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet Lady of Mercy.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you. I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. So...
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion.
Please continue.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk.
I'll take care of it.
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harry.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed. Is our little mystery closer to...
I think of nothing else.
My situation is delicate. Is our little mystery...
I think of...
My situation...
What?
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you said?
Dr. Swansea is quite busy.
How brave. Threatening an old defense.
Harriet Jones. Indeed. I've been meaning to...
Oh, better than any patient, nurse, or doctor.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on.
Blackmail? Wait. You're...
I assure you, madam, this...
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, or...
Really? Well, if you have
This is your business, Doctor, not mine.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You've given me something. Miss Jones. Now, I need to ask you if...
Well, if...
Have you noticed any...
It would be a great deal easier to make...
Come now, Miss Jones.
Have you no eyes?
Everyone here is very capable.
Thieves and murderers, the lot. People have...
If you could just tell...
It's terrible, Doctor. What with a pain in my chest, coughing up blood...
I see.
No one comes to visit, you know.
I'll come and visit... The patients and staff might know something. I'll start my investigation. Good evening, Mr. Hampton.
Dr. Reed, is it?
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory.
You remained perfectly...
Thank you, Doctor. That's...
How do you feel, Mr...
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually.
You're in good hands here.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need...
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton?
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the...
Are you a priest?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith.
Why didn't you use your cross against...
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is not...
Have you made...
Not really. But I recognize Miss Harriet Jones.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke? Receiving visits when sick can be an...
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the doctor.
How did you end up in William...
I had received alarming news about it.
Why did he...
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't...
You dared to enter this awful place.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed.
What is the general situation in
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the doc...
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who...
Has the gang been...
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long.
Do you know Tom Watts?
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their...
Goodbye, Mr. Ham. Good evening, sir.
Unless you're here to fix my face.
I'm Dr. Reed.
You guessed right, Doctor.
Where were you stationed?
I really don't...
No offense. I was pushing too much.
You were an officer, weren't you?
How is your stay with...
Oh, it's bliss.
Can I ask you...
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work.
Can I do anything?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills.
Who is treating you?
Nobody since the olden time. My face hurts so much more when I smile.
Have you heard...
If you want to know what's going on here...
Goodbye for now. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed.
Your name has no meaning to me.
I beg your pardon.
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency?
You keep calling me mortal.
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a...
Have you heard of any...
I have no time for more.
And why do you believe...
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am.
Please.
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh crack.
I see.
Never. Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal.
I'm assuming you must be a...
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies.
The staff here on...
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white.
I see. Don't worry.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that
Who are these...
I cannot say for sure. But I said...
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft?
Is that not enough for you? No, it was such a long time ago, I don't remember.
I'll leave you. Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doctor. I don't think we've been introduced.
And I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Well, it's a...
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkin. Good evening.
Good evening.
What can you tell me about...
Let me guess. You spoke with that old shrew, Harriet Jones.
No matter how you...
Who says I don't care for her?
She could have been telling the...
That old witch will end up in hell soon enough.
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting one of the nurses during her shift?
Let me guess. You spoke with that old shrew.
No matter how you...
Who says I don't care for her? Hate is what keeps that old...
How long?
Well, long enough to see that the epidemic is
You're right. When dealing with such a...
Sorry.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with the epidemic?
Well, not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more grumpy.
Why is Milton grumpy on...
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad...
Why does Milton dislike...
I don't know.
How would you describe...
It's serious.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu...
I wish I could believe you.
You must get up.
Sorry.
You must...
Sorry.
What can you...
Let me guess.
Goodbye, now.
I met him in New York once.
If only there were more of us, with less resignation and more determination.
I know I can count on.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous...
Do we know each other? Dr. Tippett's, yes, I remember. I was assistant...
He was also very confident about your...
What can you tell...
Some are really good, and others are not.
Any opinion?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve.
Ah, yes, the burden of command.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good
Tell me more.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and...
You really seem to admire her skill.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn...
What is the Pembroke...
This hospital is not
It's more than enough.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed.
Corcoran, I want you to tell me about Mr. Connor.
He was my patient. He died because...
What was the need?
It was a twofold error. I died...
Why not stop practicing? Why not...
Are you mad? I killed that man, I admit it.
Who was this patient?
I don't know. Some sick man from the docks.
Have you heard of any...
I have no time for some...
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor.
I'd like to...
Wise choice, Doctor.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening.
Why do you have such a...
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working here.
I know it's a difficult...
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were properly fed. Yeah, exactly. We lack word.
So what do you do exactly?
I've been an ambulance driver since...
It sounds like...
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital?
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rob...
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanity? Are you really?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And...
But you're not defending yourself.
You keep people alive your own way, Doc.
How is the
You want to hear the situation is all right?
Have you heard of any underhand...
There are a lot of secrets round here. I'm not surprised. I'm not in the gossip business, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye.
Is our little miss...
I think...
My sister...
Don't worry, we're safe. Don't worry, we're safe.
You're sure you don't come back with me?
Nah, I have to see someone at the hospital.
Be careful. You look so bad they may keep you as a patient.
Fuck 'em. I don't like hospitals or doctors.
Well then, when you go back to Whitechapel, you may find this useful.
What is it?
A pass for a free medical exam by the best nurse available. Just read it.
I don't read well, but thank you, I guess.
This man has been savagely attacked and dragged to the floor. creature is this? What sort of creature is this? Not a lot to check, but I should anyway. Some voucher for a free checkup in Whitechapel. What is Nurse Crane up to? I really must find her.
Please, sir.
What's going on?
I'm Blight, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan.
Oswald and myself were both...
How long have you...
I can't go there. Too many rats...
Don't be ashamed, Mr. Blight. This is a danger.
We were looking for the Pembroke...
Where was your...
He went down by the canal.
What can you tell...
His name is Oswald, that...
What can you tell me?
I'm Oswald's best friend.
I have all the information I need.
Thank you, Doctor.
It's locked, all right. Good evening, Milk.
Good evening.
I'd like...
Wise chalk.
Simpletons, these nurses.
Hello again,
Treat
Doctor.
with no respect.
Goodbye, Miss...
Someone's poached my blanket. She needs it cold.
Oh, please spare me, Dark Queen. Spare your obedient slave.
I'm quite busy, Rock.
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of...
Strickland is playing with his...
Are you thinking about...
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that...
If you are going to lead this...
I'm not the kind of man who runs away from his response.
And are you not afraid that...
Rivalry?
Thank you.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing.
Good evening, Mr. Fitt.
Good evening.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. What?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose.
How could your...
I was working a double.
You can't hold your...
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't...
Tell me more about...
1915. I was in...
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site.
I'm sorry for your loss.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer.
How are your...
They were smaller then.
Goodbye for now.
Sweet girl. Reads me like a book.
Good evening, Dr.
And good evening to...
Good...
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen.
Good evening, Doctor.
Doctor,
Goodbye, Doctor.
another night. Surely I can endure another night.
Good evening, nurse.
Doctor,
Did he really...
all members of staff...
I see.
You must know, blood trust...
How are things?
Not good, to say the least.
Do you think this hospital...
We are all volunteers here.
An invisible...
Sorry, Doctor.
I'm not familiar.
Brilliant professionals. Most of them.
Most of them.
It would be
Nurse Brannigan, if you...
No.
Is there anyone...
Well, I have never met someone as
Why should his age...
I guess it's fair to say is...
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the...
If it wasn't for him...
Dr. Tippett does not think of...
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into...
Tell me what Dr. Tippett's...
If I had not covered up his error, Dr. Tippett's would...
You can't allow your emotions to
Look around you, Dr. Reed. Do you...
I can't say I approve.
I'm not proud of what I've done, but to contain...
I've decided that I won't reveal...
I'm so glad you share my point.
I hope you're right. This is a...
Dr. Tippett's must regain it.
Goodbye now. Good evening.
Doctor.
You're exhausting yourself.
No, we must...
Nurse Brannigan.
She should not have...
You don't have to blame her for her...
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan.
You're a...
No.
Nurse Brannigan, you don't have... Goodbye, Doc. Good evening, madam.
It's my son.
I'm Dr. John...
I'm Beatrice Gos...
What can you
Not much to say.
Are you really that rich?
Yes. Thanks to my...
May I ask if you have...
I'm a teacher by profession.
What do you think of your reception?
I have had the uttermost reservation.
Is there something in particular?
Some of the staff were not especially welcoming.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital.
The ambulance driver was quite rude.
What do you mean? She charged you?
Yes, and I paid...
I share your concern.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, miss. Good evening.
No.
Really?
I don't want to talk.
I suppose that this pain is the reason.
Yes.
Could you at least...
Mortimer.
Why did your mother have you...
My mother just wants the best for me.
Pembroke Hospital...
It's not me you have to convince, Doctor.
Is your mother bothering you?
That's tempting, Doctor.
How painful.
So painful, I'd rather not.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and...
Not really.
I see. Then maybe...
Yes, maybe. But...
How painful.
So painful, I'd rather...
I'll let you get some...
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Dr. Timmons.
Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Doctor. Good evening.
Doctor...
Goodbye. Good evening, Mr. Cox.
Dr. Reed.
And why?
People who don't sleep at night always say...
Do you ever think
The wound he gave me will make
that man was determined to...
What a surprise.
What did he want?
I recently had to kill his brother. Poor ass.
You're a monster.
I'm the toughest bastard you'll ever meet, Doctor.
How is your hospital?
This is a shitty place with shitty...
What's wrong?
That bastard you sent to bring me here, Milton.
I see.
The nurses aren't too ugly. Especially that foxy one, Nurse Crane.
What's wrong with...
Come on, Dr. Reed. The place is...
But you're alive, thanks...
What are you expecting, a medal?
You're lucky to be alive, Mr.
This place is full of sick...
Consider yourself lucky that I'm treating...
Don't play the innocent with me. I'm sure you have...
You're lucky to be alive.
Cold.
How long do you...
I know this city like the back of my...
We can't escape the consequences of...
I ain't afraid of death.
And who are you, then?
I'm the leader of the Wet Boot Boys. One day, I'll lead...
How long...
I know...
We can't...
I ain't
And who...
I'm the lead...
I'll leave you.
Leech spotted! Watch out! Take a breath for this! I'll kill you! Fuck! bloody leeches every night. Aye? It's hard to recruit more and more every year. Not a good place for a stroll, all right.
I cannot enter.
The guard grew more and more every year. When did you join the guard?
It's locked all right.
Please open the door, sir. There's more and more of these bloody... Over
It's locked all right.
This neighborhood is linked somehow to the kind Lady Ashbury's blackmail. First, let's find this Petrescu fellow.
Fuck you all! Fuck it all! Stop it now, Albert, stop it!
It's locked.
The wet boots will be proud of me.
Your life away.
Are you all right?
The bastard at the wall next to me.
If you've been hurt,
Name's Albert. Remember it. Now,
what happened? Did you really...
hey, I didn't do anything.
All right. Perhaps the poor...
Sod off, mister. You ain't got no clue what's going on here. But
It's true. I'm not...
I said sod off.
Do you know...
Never heard of her. She's pretty.
Goodbye, young.
I won't end up another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
It's all a bloody joke. What?
Shooting...
What?
I'm Dr. Reed.
No. Look, I'm...
You don't seem well.
Oh,
I will see you later. Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the...
funny, I've been searching for...
Really?
Word is she ain't real. It's just a cover.
Perhaps you could focus.
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my pills. Everything's coming up roses.
What can you tell me about this place?
Nothing to say, really.
You don't have anywhere to go?
Not since the death of my wife.
You mean you used...
Yeah, I had a wife, a husband.
Me? I'll not die in some piss stinking...